Hello, my name is Camila Gutierrez. Today I will be going over my persuasive speech. Here is my audience. So today I will be explaining to you guys why I think that Medicare should not be cut off. And the reason why I think that is because more than 68 million of Americans depend on Medicare for their health care. Cutting Medicare would put millions of Americans at risk. Here is an image of a provider with one of their older patients. So you may think to yourself, why would I care about this, or how does this relate to me? The reason why you should care about this, or this may relate to you, is because as you get older, you may have to depend on Medicare yourself, and also because probably some of your loved ones may also be depending on Medicare. The reason I chose this topic is because I really believe that everybody should have access to an affordable or basically free healthcare, especially the older people or the people with the disabilities that don't allow them to work, or that may not allow them to be able to have a normal life how most of us do. Cutting Medicare would be a huge problem for millions of Americans because there's over 68 million of disabled people and older people who do receive healthcare coverage by Medicare in the United States. This can cover any prescriptions, any doctor's visits, any procedures they may have to have, any inpatient stays they may have to have. If the coverage is not provided, then this would just cause a lot of Americans to be in debt, and that is something I got from Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services that was posted in 2025. If Medicare is cut, it would reduce a lot of health, health accommodations that you may have, or any health procedures or anything like that. So it would just make it way harder for anybody or any Americans to have any of those procedures. So having Medicare allows Americans to have the availability to be independent, to live a good life while also being healthy. And because a lot of Americans depend on Medicare, allowing more procedures to be done. That is something that I also got from CMS that was published in 2025. And here I am going to show this image of a Medicare bill stating that higher cost is less care. So we've seen that cutting Medicare could cause a big problem in the healthcare because it wouldn't be as affordable, and it would be way harder for Americans to access healthcare. So now let's talk about some solutions I thought of, or I have also read about. So the first one being strengthening and protecting Medicare, which would be our best option. Congress could continue funding Medicare, which would allow those people with disabilities or those elderly that don't have money to cover their prescriptions, their doctor visits, hospital visits, any care that they may need. So instead of cutting Medicare, lawmakers could be more focused on maybe lowering the cost of a doctor's visit, lowering the cost of medication, and this change can really help a lot of patients save money and protect their health care. This I got from Kaiser Family Foundation in 2020, that was published in 2025. So now that I've explained to you guys a little bit about the problem of the problem that would be caused of cutting Medicare, now we can only imagine how good it would be if we were to strengthen and protect Medicare instead of reducing the funds. So protecting Medicare would allow these older people to receive their medications, be able to visit the doctor. Like, just imagine like how you would feel if your family member was to go to the doctor's visit and they can't get medication that has been prescribed to them because they can't afford it, or they can't see the doctor because they can't afford it, or the procedure that they may have to get is too expensive. So in order to try to avoid this or try to not have this, we should just be like, fighting for Medicare to stay in place, because this would just cause like for the healthcare to be delayed to many people, many Americans, many older people, many people with disabilities, and this would just cause maybe their healthcare to be even more, like their health condition or any diagnosis that they may have to get worse, because they have to skip a medication or they have to skip a procedure, and it would just make everything 10 times harder for them to get better in the long run. And here I also included an image of a Medicare card and an older guy that does stay, protect, and to strengthen Medicare. And I also have an image here of some older people doing some exercise, imagining how it would be for them to be able to have their healthcare that they need. So now I want to motivate everybody. I want to help convince you guys, or just to even put yourself in their shoes, to fight for Medicare to stay in place, to fight for Medicare for it to be there for us in the future, for any loved one that you may have, any family member that you may have. So I don't think that Medicare should be cut off, because it is essential to healthcare, to many patients, many people that you may know. I've explained this problem because if Medicare would get cut off, we need to know how important it is to protect it and to strengthen this program, while also knowing how we benefit from the funds that Medicare may have and stuff. So now I am going to motivate you guys, or try to convince you guys to stay informed, to speak up for any older people that you may know, any people with disability that you may know. And I would like for you guys to support any efforts that are being made to protect Medicare, that being a meeting, a protest, anything. Obviously nothing violent, but just being aware. And it's important to know that these patients are also people. They also do make a change in this world. So I think that that's why you guys should continue to fight for Medicare, continue supporting Medicare. And yeah, here I have an image of an older couple stating that we should protect Medicare's future. And I will be going over my references. Here I have a article from my articles, and I have one from AARP that was published in 2024. I have another one from Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services that was published in 2025. I have another one from Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, also published in 2025. And then Congressional Budget Office, that was published in 2024. That was the Budget Economic Outlook. And then I have one from Kaiser Family Foundation that was published in 2025, which was called Medicare. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope that this convinced you guys to continue fighting for Medicare and to continue fighting for those around you.